Lazaridis leaves BlackBerry for good. Final Cut Pro 10 updates and a new campaign. Angry Birds Star Wars enter the Cloud Plant, and much more on today's edition of iWake. I'm Tim Chaten, and today is Friday, March 29th, 2013. So welcome back to another edition of the show. Let's get into the news, as there's a fair bit of it going on. First up, Ouya, which is, I believe, that new gaming console, will be hitting store shelves June 4th for $99. So that's pretty cool news there. Link in the show notes for more info on that. Meanwhile, Mercedes-Benz has unveiled or introduced their B-Class all-electric car. So I'm kind of a fan of all these electric vehicles coming out. They're not ready for prime time, I don't feel, but the more we get into electric cars, the better batteries we'll get, the better our phones will get as a result of having bigger batteries and better batteries. And Mercedes is getting into this market. So for those curious about this new car, there's a link in the show notes. I believe it's a 114-mile range on this car, so it's not going to replace your gas guzzler for now, but very interesting, at least, as far as another company getting into electric cars, and I certainly think that's the future, and I can't wait till cars are clean and you don't have to get all dirty to work with them. Next up, Amazon has acquired Goodreads. So Goodreads is this company that helps you pick out what you want to read next. So this very clearly falls into what Amazon does as far as recommending books to buy or rent from their libraries, and this is certainly a smart buy for them, and I'm curious to see how they're going to adopt this into their I guess, platform. Next up, brief mention, If This Then That. It has this really cool recipe that I discovered on Twitter today. It basically updates your Twitter profile picture to the Boston Red Sox icon when they are playing a game. So whenever they're playing a game, it changes your profile picture to their icon, their logo, and when they're not, it switches it back to your old icon. This is a pretty nifty little hack with If This Then That. Link in the show notes for how all that is done. Next up, Apple has updated Find My Friends. Basically what they've done is they've updated the interface for setting up those alerts. Has been tweaked to let you set the exact distance threshold from a location. This lets you fine-tune the sensitivity of an alert for, say, 2 different buildings on a campus. You just want to know when someone is home. The older process with a fixed zone is going to be fine. But if you're looking for 2 buildings pretty close in distance, for example, when I lived in Los Angeles, I lived too close to the office building where I worked for those features to work, because the geofence was in the same area. So this is a welcome update for sure. Find My Friends is in the App Store, and you can update today. Next up, YouTube has announced a live stream of video games for developers. So what you're able to do is you're able to build this code into your game to basically live stream you playing that game. This is really, really cool. This even works on mobile devices as far as I know. I'm not sure if Apple would allow this or block this, but this is a big thing. PS4 is integrating streaming to Vimeo, I believe. And streaming video games is evidently a huge thing, and very curious to see YouTube announce this. I would love to just live stream all my apps to YouTube to be able to do screencasting that way, but I'm not sure if that will ever happen. Next up, Apple is doing a lot of stuff with Final Cut Pro 10 and its related suite of apps. They've updated all 3 apps today: Final Cut Pro 10, Compressor, and Motion. The big thing with Final Cut Pro 10 is they've added support for Sony XAVC codec with up to 4K of resolution. And they've bug fixed a lot of different things that I don't want to go into here because there's a lot of them. About 20 items in this change log here. With Motion, they've done a lot of bug fixes as well. And with compressor, they have removed the 1 GB file size limit for uploads of Vimeo, which is a definite plus. And they did 2 bug fixes there. So some nice fixes there for Final Cut Pro 10 and related apps that are available to current customers. Related to that is Apple is pushing, basically trying to sell Final Cut Pro to more and more people. It's got a bad track record by many pros. I'm not sure why, because I quite frankly think it's a great piece of software that's well done. So they've basically created a new website for Final Cut Pro 10, a lot of testimonials, and it's a page worth checking out for sure. So very curious, very interesting, and welcomed that they're actually promoting Final Cut Pro 10 in the way they are. Next up today is that of Apple rolling out a redesigned way to report content problems with iTunes. Many of you may know that you can report a problem with your purchase in iTunes on the Mac or Windows. This enables you to get a refund if you didn't buy what you thought you were buying, if the content wasn't high quality enough, if perhaps they remove it from the... there's all sorts of reasons why you might have a problem with your content. Well, previously it's all been on the Mac and Windows. Well, they've redesigned this and it's coming to iOS devices, which is very welcome. Most people, 90% at least I would believe of iTunes users, 99%, don't even know the report problem is in their iTunes application. This will hopefully make that more easy to access, and people actually know about this feature, which is quite helpful. And I've used it quite a bit, and the iTunes Store staff is very approachable, and they're great about giving refunds when deserved or needed. Next up today, Amtrak for iOS has been updated with iPhone 5 support, and train status has been redesigned. So if you are an Amtrak customer, go out and update. This is very much a welcome story here, welcome update here. Next up, just a link in the show notes about how you can enable T-Mobile's LTE network on your iPhone 5 if it is AT&T branded. So link in the show notes for those jailbroken folks. Next up is Angry Birds Star Wars Edition. Has been updated for both iOS and Android with 20 new levels. These are Cloud City levels, so this is a new planet of Cloud City. Welcome to Bespin after narrowly escaping the Hog Empire at the Battle of Hoth. The rebel birds are happy to lay low for a while, but Cloud City might not be as welcoming as it appears. So there's a trailer for these new episodes, these new levels, and I am owner of this really fun Angry Birds app, and I'd recommend you go out and update. Next up today, Lazaridis is leaving BlackBerry. So he was the co-CEO, which sounds weird having two CEOs, but he used to be the co-CEO. He is now the vice chairman and director. And on May 1st, he will be leaving that all behind. He is getting out of there and saying bye-bye to BlackBerry. So I think this is a welcoming thing. You don't want two CEOs. You don't want two people that are conflicting with each other, perhaps. And very good news there, I think. Next up today, Google TV's Primetime app has been updated with Amazon Prime content. So now the Google TV has access to Amazon Prime. So if you are one of those people, rejoice for that new feature. Last up today, Wolverine. This is Wolverine 2, the sequel to the other Wolverine movie. The trailer has been unveiled, so if you want to watch this trailer, it was really good trailer. It's now out there. Link in the show notes for where you can go out and get that. So with that said, that'll do today's show. Thank you for tuning in to Friday's edition. You can find the show notes at iWakePodcast.com, videos that I do at youtube.com/TCHATEN. And I do have a book out, iPod Evolution, and I have several more in the iBook store. Search for iPod Evolution to find the first, second, and third book. So with that said, thank you for tuning in to today's show, and I'll talk to everyone again real soon. Have a good one.